All right, let's bring in now Jonathan Schanzer. He is Senior Vice President for Research at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Jonathan, thank you so much for your time here. Obviously, right now, we are waiting to hear more from the State Department, but how significant is it that the government is saying that this is a, quote, deal that is very close?
It's close. I've been tracking Israeli media since very early this morning. They're talking about anywhere between 50 to 80 hostages. They are said to be all children and their mothers. This is, I think, the deal that is on the table right now. It appears that Hamas is going to be holding back on transferring men of military age. And in return, it appears that the Israelis are going to be releasing roughly 3 times as many prisoners that are in Israeli jails, including women and some of the younger men that have been arrested over the years. It appears also that Israel is going to be sending additional humanitarian assistance into the Gaza Strip, as well as fuel. This, at the end of the day, may not be the best deal in the world. Israel's not getting one for one here, but I think, as we've all heard, the families are just desperate to get specifically the children back inside Israel.
Absolutely. It may not be the best deal, but it is, a potential deal. And Jonathan, here we are at this point, more than a month and a half into this war. What is likely going on behind the scenes? What has been going on behind the scenes to make this happen?
Well, it's actually most of the discussion has been taking place in the tiny Gulf nation of Qatar. Qatar is a state sponsor of Hamas. They are, in fact, terror sponsors, if we're to be precise about it. But they also happen to have a relationship with the United States, and the U.S. has been relying heavily on the Qataris. So for 46 days, the Qataris have not been able to deliver on a deal. There appears now to be a breakthrough. I'm sure that the Qatari government is going to be looking for accolades for having achieved this. I think it would be a mistake for the United States to do that. I think the U.S. should be holding Qatar to account for having hosted and sponsored and funded Hamas over the years. But it remains to be seen exactly how the Secretary of State and how the president relate to the Qataris after a deal is done, if it is in fact able to be achieved.
And as we look at that graphic that was on the screen there, that 4 to 5 day pause potentially, what could this mean in the bigger picture when it comes to the war itself?
Well, I think there is likely to be a lot of pressure put on the Israelis. Interestingly, we're probably not going to see a lot on Hamas, even though it was, of course, Hamas that launched the war in the first place. And they're still holding a number of hostages that the Israelis want to have returned. But I have a feeling that the pressure will likely come on Israel to try to get them to stop the war entirely. The likelihood of that is, in my view, very low. When I watch what is going on in the region right now, specifically coming out of the Israeli press, the Israeli public, they are completely determined to see the total eradication of Hamas. In other words, what the group was able to do on October 7th, the attack that killed 1,200 or more Israeli civilians, has left the Israelis with the sense that they have no choice but to destroy the terrorist group if the people of the southern communities of Israel are to be able to return to their homes. So there is a sense that no matter what happens here, war is likely to continue. And then I think the real question will be, after the South is taken care of, after Hamas is removed, if in fact that is able to be achieved, whether the Israelis stop there or whether they need to turn northward, where, of course, Hezbollah has been attacking Israel since October 8th with more than 600 missiles and rockets.
And Jonathan, this is obviously a huge deal for the families of the hostages, who will be released if that does, in fact, happen. But are there any potential downsides to this? I mean, is there a way that this is a trick, for lack of a better word? Because we know, again, that there will still be hostages held. Not all of them will be released.
Well, I think that's right. First of all, you're still going to see, let's say, 150 or so hostages remaining in Hamas's possession. But the other thing is that a lot of the other groups, the Iran-backed terrorist organizations that have been attacking Israel over the last 6 weeks, are not going to be party to this ceasefire. So it's very likely that we will see the Houthi group out of Yemen still firing rockets at Israel. We'll see Hezbollah still firing anti-tank missiles and rockets and drones into Israeli territory.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.